You're listening to Storage Nerds Podcast, where we unravel the best-kept secret of the real estate investing world, the storage industry. Join the grassroots guru in self-storage, Stacy Rossetti, in insightful discussions about finding, funding, and running these spaces, allowing you to yield the highest returns possible. Get your foot in the door on self-storage and discover how to properly purchase facilities, negotiate with sellers, and close the deal without worries. Start unpacking that investment wisdom with Stacy right now.
We're here to talk about self-storage investing, and I'm going to talk about a couple of deals and just kind of go over them and just give you some pointers on how I made $1 million on these deals. All right, and just hopefully I can inspire you to get out there and start looking for some self-storage facilities to buy. All right, and so now is the time to get out there and start looking. I mean, this year was rough. This year was rough with real estate investing. If there's any real estate investors here that are just like been looking for property to buy, it doesn't matter if it's storage or not. Let me know your story in the chat, because I am just like it was rough. Now, I started my turnkey acquisitions this year in May. We started it, and it really took off in June. But June, July, and August, first of all, I was training all my virtual assistants anyways, but the summer was really rough. I mean, people like sellers just did not want to come down on their prices. And that was really kind of when the time when the market started slowing down. Inflation was super high, but the sellers still had the mindset of, I don't want to sell my facilities for low prices, right? I mean, I want to make a lot of money on them. We're about to sell 4 of our facilities in the Atlanta market. We're going to sell it as a portfolio. And basically what I told my husband is that we're just going to list those properties for 20% lower than, what the market calls for, because we want to sell them, and the truth is, and y'all have heard me like over the past couple of weeks, there are so many storage facilities for sale right now. There's like 700 storage facilities for sale on Crexy. And it's just like so crazy, because I've never seen that many storage facilities for sale. And all these sellers, they're just asking for like really high prices. They still haven't quite got in their head that the prices are dropping and things like that. So that's why I go directly to the owners. Now, one of the properties that I was going to talk about today is actually the very first property that I ever bought. When I got into self-storage investing, it was in 2016, 2015, like end of 2015, beginning of 2016. And I was pregnant with Lillian. And we wanted to get into passive income, essentially, is what it was. And I was pregnant, and I was doing all these rehabs, and I was just like so tired of rehabbing, I couldn't do it anymore. And so we started looking for things to do. And I had raised all this money to do all these rehabs, right? So remember, I'm 100% privately funded. And I just, I met a lot of investors, private investors, and we worked together and did a lot of deals together. And so 2016, and this is back 2016 where storage, like nobody was talking about storage, honestly. Like storage was just one of those things where, you would say, just like nobody was interested in, honestly. It was like if anybody was in the last up cycle, because I started in the up cycle, so I had actually really not been through a down cycle yet, but I started in the up cycle in 2010, and during that period, there was so many houses on the market that really it was just like a free for all, and all these houses were super cheap, pennies on the dollar. And so, but there was no money. So I really had to get good at raising money and, and get out there and talk to investors. So that's how I got really good, at raising money, just because there was no money. So I had to do that. And then up through from 2011 to 2015, I was doing lots of rehabs. And then in 2015, I got pregnant. And that's when I started looking for passive income. I looked at multifamily because multifamily was just coming into the picture. In about 2015, 2016, people were starting to talk about multifamily because the first 5 years from like 2011 to 2015, like nobody was really talking about multifamily because it took such a huge hit, and so like I looked at a whole bunch of buildings, but all these buildings, they just needed like so much work, and I didn't want to do all those rehabs and stuff. I was just so tired of it. And in 2016, nobody was talking about storage. It wasn't even on my radar. Like I had heard somebody talk about it like maybe a couple years ago, and they had said like they buy storage facilities, and I was like, it's kind of interesting, but that was it. That was the extent of storage in my life until my realtor brought me this deal. So it's my very first deal. And, and I had just told my realtor, because my realtor, see, from 2010 to 2015, this is when you could go on the MLS and you could find property to buy, right? And it was like, everything was super cheap. And so I had a realtor, his name is Richard, who like just got up every day and like searched, the areas I was interested for property and just sent me property. And so every day I was just looking at property, I was looking at the things that he sent me, and then I'd go drive over and take a look at them and stuff. And so we formed this really good partnership, and he made a lot of money off me. He made a lot of money because I closed, I would buy the property and sell the property under him. Right. So there's like two separate transactions, and I closed in 5 years, like over 200 transactions. And he did pretty much all those transactions. So he made a lot of money off of me. And so then I told him when I got pregnant, I was like, I'm not buying houses anymore. And he's like flipped out, he's like, what? It's like, I've been like, what am I gonna do now? Like, I'm just bought me a brand new truck, And so I was like, look, I'm still going to be in real estate. I'm just not going to be in housing anymore. I just don't want to do rehabs. I was like, so get out there and find me something else to do, because I just don't want to do houses anymore. And so he was bringing me like portfolios of like houses, like rental properties, and he was bringing me like multifamily buildings, like quads, and even huge big buildings and stuff. This is back when there was so much of that on like the MLS. It was super dirt cheap and everything. And then finally he brought me the storage facility. And actually the very first facility that I bought is right behind me. This is this picture right here. So you see it? And so I drove up. I mean, so he sent me this. He said, hey, I think I found you something. And this was after like, a couple of months of kind of looking at like portfolios and looking at how like, apartment buildings and stuff. And I just kept saying, I just can't do it. I can't do it. It's too much houses. I'm just tired of it. I was just so tired of houses at that time. And so then he said, well, what about storage? And I was like, oh, storage, that's kind of interesting. Like what? He's like, well, I found a storage facility. Just, okay, it's been on the market. He said, it's been on the market for 5 years. And this is back when, honestly, this is back when properties used to sit on the market for like 5 years. I don't know if anybody's been in, in real estate, for that long during that time, but crazy, huh? And so I said, well, that kind of intrigued me, so I said, give me the address and I'll drive by. And luckily this property right here, I used to live in Peachtree City, Georgia, if anybody knows Peachtree City, and which is a suburb of Atlanta, south of Atlanta. And this one is in Fayetteville, Georgia, which is like 20 minutes away from my house. It was a perfect location. And I was thinking like, man, I hope this thing works out, because that'd be perfect. Like I'd just stay home, hang out with Lillian all day and like play with her, and then just like go take care of the storage facility. And so I drove up to this storage facility, and when I drove up, and that was actually off of, I'm going to show you where it's at, but it was like off of this. Actually, let me just share my screen. Where do I go here? Hang on, let me just make sure I can. There it is. Okay. There it is. Okay. So it was off of Fayetteville. Actually, I'll just do Miss Lillian's self-storage in Fayetteville, Georgia. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see. If you can't, let me know in the chat. And so yeah, here it is. Just click this. Okay. So yeah, here it is. Okay, here it is. Okay, so let me just kind of show you what it looks like. Okay. Okay, I lived over here. Okay, here it's like North Fayetteville is where it's at. And I lived like right here. I lived in Peachtree City in this area. Okay, so actually I kind of lived over here, like maybe in the South Peachtree City. Oh, I lived over here is where I lived right here. And so I would just drive up 85, straight up 85 to get to the facility. So I just drove up and I took a look at it, and like this is the gate. And on this side right here, there's like a little keypad. Let me see if we can paint a picture. Yeah. There's like a little keypad. We painted this gate, so it looks a little bit better now. We painted it black, but it was all rusty when we bought it and stuff. But when you drove up, like there's the keypad was kind of like right over here. And then right behind the keypad, there's like this huge piece of land, which is actually for sale right now. And actually, the funniest thing is I tried to get a hold of that owner for like many years. I was like, let's buy this property and I could add on, now we're about to sell this property. So whatever. But like the keypad was right here. And then right behind it, as we drove up, there was this like massive, huge pile of tires, like ridiculous, like a lot of tires, probably like 300 tires sitting there. And I was like, man, that's not good. Isn't it like bad for the environment to have all those tires in like one spot? That's what I was thinking. I was like, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. And that's kind of what I was thinking. And so that was right here. So yeah, so we drove all the way up to 314. And let me see here. Let's go over to the overview here. And and this like this is a major, not a major road, but like it's a pretty busy like road. And actually the 314 is actually pretty busy. So it's really good location. As you can see, it's not quite on like the main road. It's off this road here. So you come down Commerce. And this is what it looks like. And there's actually that's the one long building that you see behind me. That's it. There's this one long building, and then it's like this huge long property. It's like a rectangle is what it is. And this is all parking. And this is all like all the way around it is parking. All right, so there's a lot of parking. So there's 64 10 by 10s, and then there's 60, like 30 parking spots here, and then 30 here, and then like another 10 here, something like that. All right, so I think there's like 60, maybe there's like 60 total, but there's a lot of parking. But when I pulled up, see, I pulled up to this way. This is our gate right here. And this is where the keypad is, and this is where all the tires were, just like totally piled up. And so and then also when I looked, I couldn't get in because I just drove by to just check the place out and see if I'd be interested, but I couldn't get in. But when I drove in, like there was like an RV that was parked like right here, and you could like, it was literally blocking like the whole, like you couldn't see inside at all. So I couldn't tell really over here what was parked or not, but I could tell over here. And there was a whole bunch of cars just piled up over here. And it just looked like the owner had said, like, just go find a parking spot. I mean, it was really so bad. It just looked really bad the way it was all parked. And this may be how it is. I don't know. It looks kind of like how it was. It was just like parked. I don't know how old this picture is or anything, but it looked really bad. And I was like, what, this looks good. I like this storage facility, and Randy 17 12 21. Hang on, Erin, are you seeing these messages? Okay, yeah, I'm seeing messages here. So just Ariel, just so you know, I'm seeing your messages. To just make sure. Why selling, Randy? Oh yeah, booyah did on me. Okay, good, awesome. Okay, oh, see, I see. So Ariel is sending me all the the messages from like from all the other locations. So remember, we are on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube now. So thank you to everybody that's listening. All right. And so she's going to help me with the chat so I don't miss any of your messages and stuff. Okay. So but at least everybody can see what I'm talking about. And if you have any questions at all, Erilyn will put them into the chat here. And then after I go through everything, then we'll answer your questions. Okay. So, but yeah, this is the facility. This is my very first facility that we bought. Okay. Now this property was sitting on the market for $500,000 for 5 years. Okay. And nobody bought it. Nobody bought it. Okay. And so basically what I did is I called Richard and I said, yes, I'm interested in this property. I would like to look at it and I would like to see, I would like to talk to the owner and just kind of get the story behind this. Why has it been sitting on 5 years? Can you ask the owner if he'd be interested in meeting us and that we want to get more information on it and I'd like to walk the property? Is that possible? And Richard said, yeah, sure. So, yeah, so I met the owner. He met us over here as well too. And then then this is always something I tell you, if I can bring my lender with me to the property, that I always like to meet the owner. I always bring my lender as well too. So I had called my lender up and I had said, like one of my lenders, and I said, look, like we're about to close on this rehab that we did. Would you be interested in rolling your money into like another deal? And he was like, yeah, of course, because once you start, lending, like you never want your money back, right? And so he was like, yeah, of course. So I said, why don't you meet me at this next property? I think I have something that, we could work together on if you're interested. And he said, yeah. He said, okay. So I gave him the address and he met me. So it was me and my lender. And it was also Pete. And at that time I was pregnant. And it must have been like at the beginning of like 2016. And I was due in April. So I remember I was pregnant. And then also Richard was there and his realtor, the owner's realtor was there too. So it was like a big group of us. And so we all met there. And also I'm telling you that owners, like if you want to make a lot of money on a deal, you need to talk to the owner. You guys hear me saying this all over and over and over again. The best deals are going to be the ones, for the smaller deals. The best ones are going to be the ones where you go directly to the owner. Now, obviously, if you want to do like a $3 million deal, I have a student that she bought a $3 million deal and now she's selling it for almost $7 million. Obviously, you can make a lot of money on super big, huge deals, right? But like for the little people, right? If you want to make a lot of money, what you have to do is go directly to the owner and you have to get them to know, like, and trust you, right? That is the key. And so, so we met the owner, we walked the property, we came in, he opened the gate and we came in and we walked the property. And basically I told my husband, I said, you've got to figure out how much money we can make on this thing. So count the doors, count the parking spaces, and let's see what we can do, what we can do for this thing. And this is when I'm telling you, I had no idea about investing in self-storage. So for most of you guys that have no idea what you're doing, that was me on this deal right here. And we all walked the property and I met the owner and his name was Butch. He liked to go by Butch, but the name of the storage facility was Big John's Storage. And he was a little tiny guy that was like 88 years old. So, and he built this thing in 1980. And he said the first, 20 years was great. And then the last like 10 years have been horrible. And he's just like not into it anymore. And I asked him, I said, so, how much money are you making on this thing? And he told me $2,000 a month. He said $2,000 to $2,300 maybe a month. And I already knew just by looking at this thing, I should be making way more money than that. All right. And so, and I asked him, I was like, why are you like not making that much money on this? I was like, because like, it seems to me like you should be making way more money than like $2,000. And I was like, are you not full? Like, what's the story? And he said, oh no, I'm full of crap and nobody's paying. That's what he said. I love that. It's like, I'm full of crap and nobody's paying. And so basically he said that every single one of these units was full and probably only a quarter of them were paying. And the parking, when we bought this thing, we had 40 cars that we had to auction off. 40 cars. And it took us like 2 years to get those things auctioned. They've been sitting for like 10 years, some of these cars. I mean, it was just nuts. And he just let them sit and not pay. It took us years. And we made so much money on selling those cars. We made a lot of money too. So you can totally auction off cars, but it just takes a lot of work. It takes a lot. It's like, the tow companies, it's like a tow truck and stuff, and how they tow the truck, or they tow the vehicle, and then they put it on their property, and then it sits there. And if nobody actually ever picks it up, they go through the vehicle auction process. And there's a state law for every single, process, for this process, right? And like towing companies, there's also like a towing association. And the towing association is the one that kind of works with the state to figure out what the rules are going to be and stuff. And so what Pete did, if anybody doesn't know who Pete is, Pete's my husband. Pete went to, and so Pete started really digging into like vehicle auctioning, because this property has so many spaces and it was just run to the ground, right? That he really wanted to make sure that he was doing everything correctly. And so what he did is he went to the towing association, and actually what happened is that his towing company, we formed a partnership with the towing company, and we put like signs on the storage facility that said towing enforced for non-payment. And the reason we did that was because our attorney told us to do that. Right. So we're working with an attorney to kind of give us the process and what to do. And he was like, you need to put a lot of signs up everywhere, towing enforced for non-payment, and whatever signs, I can't remember all the signs actually, but we had like a lot of different signs put up. And one of them was towing enforced for non-payment. And then Pete started really looking into the towing agencies and like kind of talked to the tow company and like asked them like, so what do you do with these cars? And like, what's the process? Like, if you take these, like, what do you do? And they said, and actually what's so funny is like, we had a couple of tenants, we still do have a couple of tenants that own like tow trucks, because that's like, if people don't know, that's like a business. Like you buy a tow truck and then you can like drive it around and like tow things and stuff, right? And so we had a couple of people that were doing that. So he started talking to him. He's like, so what's the process with like, with auctioning vehicles and stuff? And he said, yes, if it sits there for X amount of days and you can prove that, then you can basically go through the vehicle auction process. And so Pete started looking at the vehicle auction process, and then he started to get to know the towing association. Okay. And so then the towing association of Georgia, I don't know what it was called, but it's something like that. They basically hold workshops, right? Just like, the Self-Storage Association has like workshops and stuff. The Towing Association also has these workshops. And one of the workshops that they had was like how to auction cars off, and like what's the legal procedure for like auctioning cars off. So he took him and Bonnie, because Bonnie is our operations manager and she really kind of runs everything underneath Pete. And so he took Bonnie, and they did this like whole 1-day workshop where they learned how to like properly auction off vehicles, and what the state laws were for that. Okay. So he learned how to do all that and what the right way to do was. And eventually it took like a year and a half, maybe to 2 years, to get to the process where he could auction those off. Now that we've been doing it a lot more, essentially, it's getting faster and faster. But the first time you do anything, right, just takes forever. And so he ended up going through the whole process of, figuring out if there's any liens on the property, on the vehicles, getting a hold of the owners, getting the bins, searching the bins. He actually got access to IDI, if anybody does not know IDI is like, it's a skip tracing company, but it's like it's like a higher level skip tracing company, right? So not all skip tracing companies are created equal, right? And so IDI is like kind of like one of the higher levels, right? And but you have to get like security clearance in order to get access to it. And then once you get this security clearance, then they give you like vehicle information, right? So he has like a security clearance that allows him to put the VIN number in, and then it pulls up the owner of the vehicle. All right, so especially if you're going to get to like boat and RV parking, or if you're going to get into like, any type of parking, right, at all. So you really want to have this. So I would highly I would recommend IDI. Kind of expensive, but not really, but it's going to cost you a little bit of money to do this, the cost of doing business. And so he got access. So they like started gathering, because we had like 40 vehicles. I mean, essentially there were so many vehicles that had not paid in years, and they were just sitting there and just like rusting, because this owner had just run this thing to the ground, right? And so if you think about it, there's like 60 parking spaces and like 60, 10 by 10 spaces. Is really 6,000 square feet of storage, and then like 60 parking spaces. So really 2 acres of that whole lot is parking, and half an acre is taking up the 60 spaces or whatever. And so it took him the whole time to get it through. And then finally what he did is he got through the whole process. And he put it on storageauctions.com. He put these vehicles, and then we had like so many vehicles. We had like huge nice cars. I mean, and actually people really don't care if they're nice or not. They'll just buy whatever, right? Well, I don't know what they're doing with these cars, but even the junkiest cars, we have cars that were like sitting there and it looked like they had just been like piecemealed, like scraps taken off, and like tires, and just like big hunk of metal was sitting there. And then we also had like, pieces of cars like sitting around, like engines and stuff like this. And he put those on there too. I mean, he auctioned anything off in storage auctions, man. I'm telling you, people will buy whatever. We had one guy, there was on the property, there was a trailer, like a mobile home trailer. And there was also a semi truck that he had parked their trailer there, and like never came back, and like just left the semi there. So we auctioned that off, and somebody bought it. Now look at this thing right here. I'm telling you, people will buy whatever. It's like crazy. The semi truck was over here. That's where it was. So I'm assuming, and it was probably put there like 15 years ago or 20 years ago. It'd been sitting there forever. This thing had just been sitting there. And so I can't imagine like how this semi truck even came in here. Did it come around here and then like go straight and back in, or what? And so I guess the person that bought the semi trailer, because that was long, now I think our property goes like this is where our property line goes, but it came back under these trees. It was like all hidden. And and so I guess the person that got the semi truck and paid like a couple $1,000s for this thing. And it was like, we didn't even open it or anything. We just like put it on, did the whole process, put it on storage auctions. And then we had like people bidding on this thing. And in the end, we got like $3,000 or something for it. And so we put it on, and then they came back, like, I guess the person that had won the bid, like hired a trucking, like a company to come and pull this thing out, and it had been sitting so long in the dirt and stuff like that, that it was like, sunk into the dirt and stuff. So they really tore like the whole dirt, they tore the whole place up really, but we didn't care because it was taking up like, 10 parking spaces or something, it was taking up a lot of parking. And so now somehow they pulled it out and swung that thing around and got it out. I don't know how they did it without even wrecking anything. These trucking companies are amazing. And so yeah, we went through that whole process of getting rid of all these cars. And then after we did that, there's like a school right over here, and I don't know if you can see. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, here's like a school. And so we talked to this school. So this is the property I told you is for sale right now. They're trying to sell it. So whoever wants to buy this property, they could buy this property as well too, because we are going to sell this facility next year, early next year. But they can buy this and build on right here. But this school right here, so we wanted to repave this because this was really bad, honestly. And it's so bad. I mean, just like potholes everywhere. Actually, you can see in the back of my picture. I don't know if you can see like over here. I can't figure out how to do that. But anyways, over on this side over here is where that little pothole is. Because there used to be like potholes. I mean, I guess at one point this was a nicely paved driveway. But actually, I think this might be our newer. I can't tell. This might be new. It looks kind of nice and paved now, but we got this all paved. We spent like so much money. Actually, it didn't cost that much money. It cost like 60 grand to pave this. Okay. And so it looks really nice, really pretty now. And the parking is all kind of organized. It doesn't look like it here, but it's all organized. And like, nice lanes, and everybody's parking perfectly. And it just looks like, it looks really good. We're about to get the facility painted, and then we're going to sell it. Okay. So like, obviously we're trying to fix it up, but what we had to do is we had a lot of parking here. And so we asked the school right here if we could if we could move all these cars over here. So whoever could move the cars, moved all their cars and stuff over here. This was like a huge fiasco that really took us like months to plan, honestly. Because we had so much parking and stuff there. And so they parked all their stuff here for like a week. We paid the school. We paid the school to let them park here. It was like in the holidays. So like nobody was going to be there. And we planned it that way. And then we had security, like we hired a security guy that stayed like they had like a van, and they stayed there the whole time, like 24/7, and just like monitored. And that's kind of like how we did it. And we got everybody to move all their cars, and we had to tow a couple of them and stuff, but we got it all done. And then it took like a week to really pave this, make it look really nice. And it looks amazing now, honestly. I don't even know if I have any pictures of it. I think Pete probably has some pictures, but it looks really good. And actually, Pete's going to go up there and take some good pictures and stuff especially for selling it. But yeah, so that cost us about 60 grand plus another 10 grand to do all this, all this kind of stuff, but we did repave it. So yeah, so we bought like a dumpy store. Our very first storage facility was a dump. All right. And I have no qualms at all with buying horribly mismanaged facilities. Now, the only thing with the horribly mismanaged facility is that you have to come out of pocket, obviously, for X amount of time to fix all this up, right? Or you could borrow that much money. Like you could borrow the CapEx if you want to, and then use that money as the CapEx. But we typically don't personally do that because I pay, 8 to 10% on my property. And I don't want to pay 8 to 10% on, a lot of money. I want to pay 8 to 10% on just like exactly how much I need. So we typically borrow enough money to purchase the facility. It was $250,000 to buy this. Now, remember, he wanted $500,000, but I told him that I couldn't afford that because my mortgage, honestly, I had no idea what I was doing when I bought that property. All right. But all I knew is that I was selling a property, and we were selling it for like, 300 grand or something, or 250 to 300 grand. And so that's all the money I had from the other lender. So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, like I'm gonna sell this rehab. We're gonna close, and he's gonna give me his $200,000, and I'm gonna, $200,000 or $250,000 that he has, and I may be able to come up with some money as well too. But whatever money that I have, I just want to roll this over to this. And so essentially I just ran with, I only have $250,000 actually, and that's all the money that I have to spend. And that's going to cost me, like at 10% interest, it's going to cost me $2,500 a month. And he said that he was only making $2,000 a month. Right. Remember, that's all he said. I'm just making like 2,000. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to come out of pocket a couple $100 every month, plus anything it takes for us to like get this thing up and running. We're going to have to come out of pocket. And that's how I kind of talk to my my lenders as well, too, just so everybody knows, my private lenders, because I am 100% privately funded on all of the purchases, right? But I tell them, like, if you give me the money to purchase the deal, I'll be the one that comes out of pocket to get the things up and running. And that takes a lot of like time and effort to do that, you know, and cost, you know. So like this facility that you see here, we came out of pocket like 60 grand to get the whole thing paved. You know, we came out of pocket every month. It took us like 18 months just to really, you know, get a profit and break even on this thing because it was such a dump. And we ended up actually having to call EPA. We called EPA because also throughout the entire facility, like there were just tires everywhere. In fact, the EPA, and that took me like 2 years. Like I called the EPA and I was like, look, I feel like our area is like a dumping ground for tires and I really want to get this fixed. And I hope you guys can come do this for free because I cannot afford to fix that. And so I talked to a guy, really, really nice guy that worked for the EPA. I don't remember how I did this. I probably just like Googled EPA or something. And so I talked to the guy, the district area, or like the area, I guess. And I was like, can you come by and meet me and I'll show you where all these tires are and you take a look and see if you guys can help me. And he was like, yeah. And so, you know, I was just really like, you know, honest about it. And so the guy came over and obviously when he drove up, he saw this big, huge pile of tires, like, oh my God. And I was like, that's not it. And then we started walking the property and there were tires everywhere. And then also right here, there's like a fence, Now this section right here kind of goes down. It's a hill. And but like this, there's like a big fence right here. You can't see it in the trees. But like people started throwing their tires like over the fence. And it was like they were like down on the other side of the fence. And there was like hundreds of them. So overall, he told me that they took probably like 3,000 tires from this area. Could you imagine 3,000 tires? All from this whole area. He said they went through this whole area and picked up every tire. And so the owner, he had just, you know, he just like let them just kind of do whatever. I mean, these people, they were like working on their cars and like throwing tires and just, it was just a big mess. And so obviously nobody wanted to buy this thing, right? I mean, nobody wants to buy it because it's like this, it's like a huge, you know, like a huge operation trying to get this thing up and running. And you have to come out of pocket and it takes a lot of time and energy. These properties for Pete and myself, these are perfect properties. Honestly, these are the ones that we love because I bought this for $250,000. We pay 8% interest, you know, to our lender. It's an interest only payment. And, you know, we put in like 60 grand, you know, plus, you know, money over the course of the last couple of years to get this thing up and running, you know, maybe let's say 100 grand, let's say 100 grand total to get this thing really beautiful, up and running, time, effort, and, you know, fixing, painting, and fence needed coming down. So the fence got all redone, this kind of stuff. Okay. So we spent 100 grand. We're all in at 250. And we now have like 125 spaces that are making about $100 each a month. So we're making like between $10,000 and $12,000 a month on this. And remember, he couldn't even get $2,000 out of this thing. Okay. So now we're making $12,000 a month on average. And let's say $125,000 a year. And so this thing is now valued at around $1.2 million. So we bought the $1.25 million. So we made $1 million on this property over the course of the last couple of years. Now, this property also is valued at a higher, you know, at a lower cap rate. So it's a higher value because it's at a lower cap rate. And the reason why is because it's really, it's a primary market. I mean, this area south of Atlanta, this would be considered like primary market. Now, when we bought this facility, like there was only one storage facility. Like there was one like right over here. Let me see nearby. We were still kind of considered, it wasn't like country, but look, now there's live storage, secure storage, live storage. This one's here. I mean, there's a couple more. I mean, there are so many major players in this area. So many major players. And there's one right here. Let's see, what's this one? No, this is not a storage. Let's see. No, this is just the road. But yeah, you can see it's like kind of a busy road. So this is the road that we're on, right? Is right here. So, but yeah, we're like surrounded by larger facilities now. I mean, it's just crazy. And those were not there when we bought the place like 5 years ago. Okay. So I would consider this primary market. What do you call it? You guys consider this primary or secondary market? What do you think? I mean, I would consider this primary market. This is going to be worth a lot of money when we sell it. Now that's how we made it. We're going to be making $1 million on this property. And we're working really hard to get it, up and running. There's a space shop right here. What's space shop? This is our competitors. Oh yeah, look at this one. This is a nice one. Yeah, this is nice. Oh yeah, see, space shop self-storage is right there. And all these people are all like way more expensive than us. Like we're not, like we charge $100 a month is what we charge on average, something like this. If you go to like their website, like space shop here, let's see, space shop. And look at how much they're charging. Let's go check. Actually, let's just check and see. 5x5s are $50. A 5x5 62. This is drive. Okay, this is climate control. And let's see what available units, small, medium, and large, size guide. It's like way busy, this website. It's like too busy for me. Climate control, everything's climate control. Maybe there's there's got to be. Here's drive up. Here's a 10x20. Yeah, see, here's a 10x20, $289, and we're charging like $125 for a 10x20. But it's 50% off the first rent here. So they're going, oh, you can choose your promotion, 50% off the remainder of the month, or 50% off the first full month. Interesting. So 10x20s, we charge like $125. All right. Because obviously, you could see like ours is, like older and stuff like this, so we don't want to be like as good as them. But that's why we're always full, as well, so we're making like 10 to 12 grand a month on this thing. We definitely should be able to sell this for $1 million, $1 million plus dollars. What do you think? Right? What do you guys think about that? Okay, all right, let's get into some questions. And the one thing I wanted to just talk about, we can get into all my deals, but going directly to the owner and asking the owner to sell to you, and really getting the owner to know, like, and trust you, I'm telling you, is the best way to get deals. And so just keep that in mind as you get out there, especially over the next year. It's going to be amazing. So I hope you guys are working on coming up with money, raising money. I talked about this last week. I'll talk about this every week. Your focus is to find money, either your own money or somebody else's money. I like somebody else's money better than my own money. All right. I'm okay with paying higher rates if it's somebody else's money, and I'll do all the work. That's just how me and my husband are. But you may not be that type of person. I mean, I have a lot of people in like Storage Nerds, my coaching program, that are just like, no, like somebody needs to manage that. I want a bigger facility. I want like 300 units because I need somebody to manage that. And they're just adamant, like, I have to make sure that the numbers work with my management fee because I'm not going to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Everybody has their own, way that they want to invest in self-storage. And the best part is that there's like something for everyone, right? So you can be like us and kind of like to get their hands dirty and like dirty, nasty storage facilities. Remember that we just closed on one last week. 171 units for $375,000. Remember, on 6 acres, if anybody, if you guys were here last time, that one is going to be worth over $2 million when we're done. Same exact thing. It is a dump, right? So it's going to take a lot of work for us to get that done. Those are just the type of facilities that that we like. But you can do income producing properties, you can do mismanaged, you can do like any type of property that you want, new construction, whatever you want, you know. So, and okay, so now let's get into some questions while everybody's here. And Ariane, if you can help me put some questions in the chat, I'll start answering those before we move on to the next session. So, and don't forget that if you want to hop onto my pitch, it's like, you know, I always do it right after this for the fund, right? I'm raising money for the fund. I'm looking for some money for the next deal that we have under contract. And so if you're interested in doing that, then you could hop on that. It's stacyrossetti.com/fund, FUND. Okay, that's how you get on. Okay. When you roll your money over, when you roll money over from one property to the next, is that situation written into your private lender contract, or how do you go about structuring that? I assume you just roll that money over so you aren't having to pay out the lump sum at the end of your interest. No, so actually that's not true. So basically what you do is like you close on the deal that you had, right? So we had a rehab before this one, we had a rehab. And we sold it for like, you know, we sold it and the lender got his $250,000 back. And so then once he gets the 250,000, so the attorney or the title company is going to wire that money, and that transaction is going to be 100% closed out. Okay. And then he's going to have to rewire the money back over, and there is going to be a new like lien on the property, because as a private lender, you get first lien on the property and you get a note. The note is basically the terms of you and the private lender's agreement. So like I said, you know, we do with that lender, we do 5-year loans at like 8% interest is what we do. Okay. And that lender, he does not want to, I've been working with that lender for almost 10 years. He does not want any money back at all, especially now. He does not want his money back. And so, so yeah, so he just knows that he gets like between 8 and 9, maybe 10. Actually, at one point he gave me 3%. He was like, Stacy, he's like, you know, I'm just so happy I'm working with you. He's like, interest rates are down. He's like, I'll give you 3% on this deal. You know, so I love working with lenders that, you know, are just open to working, and they understand the concept that a lender is like a partner. I mean, we're trying to create win-win situations. I mean, I've made my lenders so much money, right? So thank you for being nice to me as well too, right? And so we close that transaction out, and then that money is rewired back to the attorney to close on this transaction here, the storage facility. They get the note, they get the lien on the property, they get title insurance, and they also get hazard insurance. So insurance, like just in case this burns down or something, they're covered. All right. And that's really kind of that's what they get for lending me the money. All right. That's how it works. So it are always separate transactions. So I don't get like a line of credit on private lending. I don't get line of credits. On my fund, the fund is kind of like a line of credit. I mean, I raise as much money as I can, and then I go out and buy storage facilities. So the fund would be kind of like a line of credits. That would be like more advanced. Like you start out with some private lenders, figure out how it works, and then move on up to funds and syndications. Okay. And let me see here. How long do you take to get your CapEx back and get free? It takes a good, like for my facilities, it takes a year to a year and a half for CapEx. All right. Now, the one that we just closed on last week, that's a $200,000 CapEx. And it's going to need to be painted, doors, like walls, like in between the units, like the owner took walls out on some of them for some reason. Like, I don't know if he was trying to make different sizes and stuff. Latches, you know, this 200,000 is what it's going to cost. And so that's going to take, I mean, to spend 200,000 on a storage facility, I mean, that takes a lot of time and effort. I mean, just think like ordering those doors and just really kind of managing that whole process. That's a lot of work. So give yourself 18 months. I tell all my lenders 18 months is when I'm going to start like turning a profit, if not longer, maybe 24 months. It just takes time, and you want to give yourself time. Can you now if you buy a income producing property, right? You're like, I want cash flow. Like I have students who are like, no, I need cash flow now. Like I want to quit my job. Like I don't want to be doing this anymore. I need to make $5,000 a month because that's where I'm making my job. So I need to buy me a storage facility that like makes $5,000 a month, right? So that's an income producing property is what that is, right? So that's like with a little bit of appreciation on the back end. That's an income producing property. Mismanaged facilities, like you're coming out of pocket with a lot of appreciation on the back end. Okay. Okay, let's see. How long is it? Okay, so is there anything you can make? Is there anything you can make the parking space tenants sign when they start? That in case you default, you can speed up the auction process. Yeah, so the only thing that you cannot speed up any auction process. Like really the auction process is just like up to the city or like, the county, whatever one you're working with. And I'm telling you, it just takes forever. Like, of course, the government, like nothing ever goes fast, right? So you can put the signs up that say like, towing upon. Now, for like, if it's a nice vehicle and like, they've only been there for 6 months and then they stop paying, then what we do is we just get the vehicle towed. Towing enforced for non-payment, right? And then we just tow it. We let them know. We say, look, we are going, since you have not paid this, we're going to tow your vehicle, right? But for like when you're buying a property and you're buying like just a piece of crap and there's like stuff that's been sitting there and stuff, which this happens quite often, that is where you should go through the auction process and like learn how to do vehicle property auctions and stuff like that. Okay, so that's what it is. But typically, if they haven't paid in a couple of months, we just like send them a towing notice and just tow it off is what we do. And give them notice, like several notices. Okay. And then may I ask how much how much did you make out of those 40? We made a lot of money. We made so much money. I mean, not a lot, but I made 20 grand, something like this. We made a lot, like we made a good amount of money. Okay, good. So everybody's coming on. We got some questions. Let me just keep going down here. Capital expenses. Okay. How do I know if I'm getting a good deal? Yeah. So I go over deal analysis quite often on Monday nights. Remember, every Monday night is a new session. I did not do the deal analyzer today, but I've done the deal analyzer many, many times. So you can just go onto my YouTube channel and just search, Stacy Rossetti teaches, and then look up all of the different videos that I do deal analysis on. Now, you can also get access to my deal analyzer by buying the course, Super Simple Self-Storage. So if you really want to learn how to do this, then just buy the course, and Arielyn gives $1,000 discount link. She posts it in the chat. So you can take that and buy it. Typically it's $2,000. If you go to my website, it's $2,000, but if you take this link, you can get $1,000 off. So it's $1,000. Okay. And then inside that course, there is a deal analyzer, and there's me explaining the deal analyzer, like several videos going over the deal analyzer among like 150 other videos, right? There's like a whole thing, and I'm taking you step-by-step process on the course is what I'm doing. Okay. And that you can just go to stacyrossetti.com and then just click on the online course and you can find that. And it says, this makes so much more sense. Another question, when finding a lawyer, does anyone work or should you be searching for one that has some knowledge in the industry? Yeah. So are you needing a lawyer to close on a property? Not really. But if you need a lawyer for like tenant, questions and stuff, yes. Now, if you join your self-storage association, there's always like some lawyers there you can always hire. Now, typically they're a little bit more expensive. But find a good lawyer to help you answer questions on like, self-storage, management, or, questions on your contracts and stuff like that, so that you can have somebody to lean on, like these processes that I just told you today. So it's good to have somebody that understands the storage industry. Now, I'm going to be speaking at ISS. That's the International Self-Storage. I'll be there in like April or May, whenever it is next year. And there's like a ton of lawyers there. So if you're like, if you want to, get in, if you want to really learn and like get to know the network and find people and stuff, then you should definitely consider going to the ISS. I'll be there speaking as well. How many square feet on the property you're buying currently? Okay, so the one that we just closed on last week was like 25,000 square feet. This one here, that long building was 6,000 square feet because it was 60 10 by 10 units. So it was like 6,000 with like a couple, like with enough spots for like 60 more parking spaces. Okay, it was a 3-acre lot is what it was. 3 acres is a big piece of property. Yeah. Okay, if we want to invest with you, what's the minimum and what's the rate of return? Yeah, I'm going to go into the pitch on right after this. So you definitely, if you want to be a passive investor, you should hop on to the pitch, stacyrossetti.com/fund. But the preferred rate, the preferred rate is 10%, which is very good. I was talking to my lawyer the other day and he was like, nobody doing 10%, Stacy. And I was like, I'm doing 10%. And it's a 75-25 split. So it's 25 to me and 75 to everybody else. Now that means that I'm giving up 75% of my deals for you, right? And believe me, that I've never done that before. All right. So just keep that in mind. When you're doing like funds and stuff, essentially I'm finding the deal and managing it, and then I'm giving you 75%, and then you give me the money, right? And I'll manage it. We'll make money together, right? Okay, what is it? I'm passive investor. What's the highest interest per annum for monthly payments prefers that you see out there? The highest interest is 8 to 10 right now is really kind of typical and normal. Let's see what happens over the course of the next year, right? But typically like 8 to 10. I mean, come on, you want to make like a win-win situation. And still, right now, sellers are not they're still being stingy. I mean, come on, sellers. We want you to drop your prices. All of us investors are just waiting, but until then, because the prices are so high, the lenders have to be also lower in their interest rates. If there was this huge massive gap, so for instance, back in 2010 and 2011 and 2012 and 13, when I was in doing rehabs, I would see lenders doing 15 and 5 points. That was crazy. Right. I never did that. I always stuck with just private lenders. But I mean, if you have such a huge gap, then you can obviously get more money. But the truth is there's not huge gaps yet. There's not a good spread yet. So you just have to that's why I say 8 to 10% is a good fair number. And honestly, 8 to 10% is going to be way more than what you're getting in the stock market or crypto right now. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let's see what else. Okay, good. You got all my links there. So make sure you click on my course and start getting from now until the end of the year. You could just do that course and then start getting out there. I'm telling you, there are so many good deals out there. But actually, the truth is that it's all a numbers game. Just keep that in mind. It's all a numbers game. And the more offers that you put in, the more chances you're going to have of finding a good deal that fits your risk level, right? Okay, aren't you still in the rehab game? No. No way. I will never go back to rehabbing. Once you get into storage, you do not want to do rehabs anymore. That's for sure. And he said just with storage instead of houses. Yeah, I'm not rehabbing is with contractors. And with rehabbing houses, it's that's way too stressful. No. Storage is different. Storage is slow and steady wins the race. Storage is not so stressful. Rehabbing is just too stressful, honestly. I'm so glad I got out of storage. Out of rehabbing. Okay, good. Let me see what else. Yeah. Yes, you're right. Yes, I got 25,000 square feet for $375,000. Yes, you heard me correctly. I'm telling you, talking to the owner is the best way to go. How do I get, okay, good. All right. So I think I got everything. All right. So I'm going to jump off. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Come back next Monday, right before Thanksgiving. And so I could say a happy Thanksgiving to you. And then I'm here every Monday if you have any questions. Okay. But I'm going to hop off and I'm going to go to my pitch now. Okay. So I appreciate you guys being here. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Storage Nerds. Hope this informative conversation inspired you to go out there and jump into this highly profitable business venture that people rarely talk about. Get more tips on storage space investing at www.stacyrossetti.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave a rating. Together, let's build that thriving passive income one storage space at a time. Until next time.